All right, so are you ready to like travel back in time? We're going back to the roaring 20s for this deep dive.
Ooh, fun.
It's F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
And, The Great Gatsby, it's one of those stories that it just kind of stays with you.
Absolutely does.
You think about it years later. And
Yeah.
There's so much there.
There's so much to unpack there. The characters, the symbolism, and then the themes.
Oh, yeah.
And the things that are really kind of surprisingly relevant even today, I think are fascinating.
Totally. So let's just like set the scene, okay?
Okay.
So it's Long Island, 1920s.
All right.
And we have these two eggs, right? West egg and East egg.
Yes.
And they were separated not just by like water, but by so much more.
Right.
So in West egg, we have people who've recently come into wealth.
Okay.
Like Gatsby, right?
Yeah.
Throwing these extravagant parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he's trying to prove something.
Oh, it's very much that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fascinating that while Gatsby's mansion is just like screaming, look at me, at the same time, it feels like he's trying to buy his way into this world that still continues to see him as an outsider.
Right.
And then across the water in East Egg,
Yeah.
you have the established elite.
Yeah, the old money.
Yeah, the old money folks like Tom and Daisy Buchanan.
Yeah.
And they just seem to effortlessly navigate the social strata.
Right. And that tension between new money and old money
Yeah.
really kind of sets the stage for this whole drama.
It does.
It's not just about wealth.
Right.
It's about like belonging and what it means to be accepted.
Yeah.
Especially in a society that is like obsessed with status.
Precisely. And it speaks to this, I think, deep-seated longing in Gatsby.
Yeah.
This yearning to be part of something that he feels excluded from.
Yeah.
Almost like he's trying to rewrite his past
Oh.
to create an image of himself that fits into this world.
I like that. Okay, so now let's get into the players in this story. Because the characters are what make The Great Gatsby so captivating, right?
Yes, they are.
So we have Gatsby,
Yeah.
shrouded in mystery, this almost mythical aura around him.
Right. And then, of course, there's Nick Carraway, our narrator.
Yes.
Who kind of gets drawn into Gatsby's world almost against his better judgment.
Right.
And Nick is like this observer on the outside,
Yeah.
offering us these glimpses into the lives of these wealthy people
Yeah.
and their reckless behavior.
Yeah. And then there's Daisy Buchanan.
Yes.
Right. She's the object of Gatsby's affection.
Mm-hmm.
So she's beautiful. She's alluring.
Yeah.
But there's also this kind of shallowness to her.
Yeah.
And a detachment that hints at maybe some deeper dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Then you have Tom Buchanan, Daisy's husband,
Right.
who really embodies this arrogance and entitlement
Yes.
of the East Egg elite.
Right.
So Tom's infidelity,
Yeah.
his blatant disregard for others,
Mm-hmm.
really kind of highlights this moral decay
Right.
that Fitzgerald seems to be criticizing.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
And speaking of moral decay,
Yeah.
we can't forget Jordan Baker,
No.
who's this professional golfer and friend of Daisy's.
Yeah. She's cynical. She's jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly willing to like bend the rules to get what she wants.
Yes, and each character with all their flaws and their complexities,
Right.
they contribute to this kind of larger tapestry of ambition and disillusionment and this pursuit of unattainable dreams
Right.
that kind of runs through the story.
Yeah, it really does.
So now let's get to the heart of it,
Okay.
the driving force behind all of Gatsby's actions. His love for Daisy,
Yeah.
this all-consuming love for Daisy.
Right.
It started years ago before the war,
Yes.
and it's become this idealized obsession
Right.
that fuels everything he does.
And this is where the story takes on this almost mythical quality.
Oh, yeah.
He isn't just in love with Daisy.
Right.
He is in love with the idea of her.
Yeah.
This memory of a past that he desperately wants to recapture.
Yeah, and that longing, right?
Right.
For something lost is so beautifully captured in that image of the green light
Yes.
at the end of Daisy's dock.
Ah, the green light.
The green light.
It's not just a literal light. It's
Yeah.
a symbol of Gatsby's yearning for this idealized past.
Right.
And ultimately, this elusive nature of the American dream itself.
Yeah. It's almost like Gatsby believes he can bend time
Yeah.
to his will,
Mm-hmm.
that if he just gets enough wealth, throws extravagant enough parties,
Yeah.
he can win Daisy back and erase the years that have passed.
Right. But as we know, the past can't be rewritten.
Right.
And Gatsby's attempts to recapture it lead to a bunch of events
Right.
that ultimately unravel his carefully constructed world.
Yeah, and that rekindled romance between Gatsby and Daisy just
Yeah.
really complicates things even further.
It does.
So Tom, with his possessive nature
Yeah.
and his deep-seated insecurity,
Right.
he becomes suspicious.
Mm.
And the tension really starts to build,
It does.
culminating in that explosive confrontation at the Plaza Hotel.
Right, and that confrontation is a huge turning point in the story.
Yeah.
Gatsby, fueled by his dream, he throws all caution to the wind and declares his love for Daisy,
Wow.
claiming that she never actually loved Tom,
Right.
but Daisy,
Yeah.
she's caught between the allure of Gatsby's passion and the security of her life with Tom,
Right.
and she hesitates.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking
It is.
because you see the cracks in Gatsby's facade
Yes.
start to show.
Yeah.
And he's built up this whole persona, this elaborate illusion.
Yeah.
And it's all starting to crumble.
And the consequences of that crumbling illusion are about to become devastating.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in this downward spiral that Fitzgerald really drives home like one of the most potent themes in The Great Gatsby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the American Dream and its dark underbelly.
You're so right on the surface.
Yeah.
Gatsby embodies that classic rags to riches tale, right?
Yeah, all right.
Pulling himself up by his bootstraps to achieve this level of wealth that was previously unimaginable.
Right.
But as we dig deeper, it becomes clear that Gatsby's success is tainted. It's built on illegal activities.
Right.
And it's ultimately hollow.
Exactly. Fitzgerald is showing us the perversion of the American dream.
Yeah.
How this relentless pursuit of wealth and status can lead to corruption and moral bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Gatsby's lavish parties,
Yeah.
filled with all these guests that barely know him, are like a perfect example of this.
Totally.
It's all surface, no substance.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking because you sense that Gatsby isn't truly happy.
Right.
He's surrounded by all this opulence,
Yeah.
yet he remains fixated on this past that he can't recapture.
Yeah, he's chasing this idealized version of Daisy that may not even exist.
Right, and it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is the American dream as Gatsby envisions it truly attainable?
Right.
Or is it just an illusion?
Yeah, is it just this shimmering mirage
Yeah.
that ultimately leads to disappointment and tragedy?
Speaking of illusions,
Yeah.
keep coming back to that image of the Valley of Ashes.
Yep.
It's such a stark contrast to the glittering world
Yeah.
of West Egg and East Egg.
It is. The Valley of Ashes is Fitzgerald's stark reminder of the cost of this unbridled ambition.
Right.
It represents those who are left behind in the pursuit of wealth,
Right.
the forgotten casualties of the American dream.
Yeah, and it's in the Valley of Ashes that we meet George Wilson,
Yes.
Myrtle's husband, who is just utterly devastated by her death.
Right.
And it's a moment that forces us to kind of confront the consequences
Yeah.
of the characters' actions,
Uh-huh.
the ripple effects of their recklessness.
Right. And the tragedy of Myrtle's death
Yeah.
also brings into focus the theme of class
Oh, yeah.
that permeates the entire novel.
Right.
Gatsby, despite his wealth, will never truly be accepted by the East Egg elite.
Right.
He's new money.
Yeah.
And that distinction carries a stigma that he just can't escape.
Yeah, it's interesting because you see Daisy torn
Yeah.
between these two worlds.
Yeah, she...
On the one hand, she's drawn to Gatsby's passion and the excitement he represents.
Right.
But on the other hand, she's deeply attached to the security and social standing
Yeah.
that Tom and her world provide.
Her choice to remain with Tom, despite her feelings for Gatsby,
Yeah.
really highlights the immense power of these social structures.
Yeah.
And the difficulty of breaking free from them.
Right,
It's
yeah.
a tragic decision.
Yeah.
But it speaks to those societal pressures and expectations
Right, yeah.
that often dictate our choices.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if Gatsby had been born into old money,
Right.
would the outcome have been different?
Yeah.
Or was he destined for tragedy from the start?
Right. That's the beauty of The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
It leaves us pondering these questions, these complex issues of class and ambition and the illusions we create for ourselves.
And even though the story's set in the 1920s,
Right.
these themes feel so relevant today.
They do.
We're still grappling with these same questions about wealth and status
Yeah.
and what it truly means to achieve the American dream.
It's a testament to Fitzgerald's genius
Yeah.
that he was able to capture these enduring human struggles in such a compelling way.
And while the story is filled with tragedy,
Yeah,
it also offers moments of beauty and poignancy.
it does.
Like Nick's final reflection on Gatsby,
Yeah,
comparing him to those early American settlers reaching for a dream.
right.
It's a bittersweet ending
Yeah.
that leaves us with this mix of sadness and a sense of awe
Yeah.
at Gatsby's unwavering belief in his vision.
Right, and it's Nick's journey, too,
Yeah.
that adds this depth to the story.
Oh,
He
yeah.
acts as our moral compass,
Yeah.
observing the excesses and moral decay of the wealthy,
All right.
and ultimately choosing to walk away from it all.
But before we delve into the intricacies of Fitzgerald's prose and the brilliance of his storytelling,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to consider what resonates most deeply with you about The Great Gatsby. We've talked about the characters and the themes and the timeless questions The Great Gatsby raises.
Right.
But what makes this story so enduring
Yeah.
and so captivating is how Fitzgerald tells it.
It's true.
His writing is just brilliant.
Absolutely.
It's not just a story, it's an experience.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald's prose is so rich.
Mm.
It's evocative, almost poetic.
Yeah.
He really uses language to paint these vivid pictures and draw you right into the heart of the Roaring Twenties.
Yeah, you're so right. I remember that scene where he's describing Gatsby's mansion,
Yes.
all lit up for one of his extravagant parties.
Uh-huh.
You can practically hear the music and feel the summer heat and smell the champagne.
And it's not just the beautiful descriptions.
Yeah.
Fitzgerald uses imagery and symbolism in such a masterful way.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about the green light,
Right.
but think about the Valley of Ashes,
Yeah.
this stark gray wasteland. That represents the moral decay lurking beneath all the glitter and gold.
It's true. And even the colors
Yeah.
that he uses throughout the novel carry symbolic weight.
Yeah.
The shimmering gold of Gatsby's parties.
Yeah,
The cool green of the light across the bay.
exactly.
It's every detail is carefully chosen
It is.
to add another layer of meaning.
It makes you want to reread passages.
Yeah.
Not just for the story itself,
Right.
but to savor the language, to unpack all those hidden layers of meaning.
And the way he structures the narrative, too.
Yes,
It's all told from Nick Carraway's point of view.
it is.
This outsider who gets drawn into Gatsby's world.
It's almost like we're experiencing the story through Nick's eyes.
Yeah.
He's piecing together Gatsby's past, trying to understand the motivations behind all this glamour and tragedy.
And because Nick is an outsider,
Yeah,
we get this unique perspective.
right.
We're close enough to the action to feel that intensity,
Mm-hmm.
but we also have that critical distance to analyze what's happening and question motives.
Right, just like Mick does.
It creates this feeling of ambiguity,
It does.
this unease, like we're never quite sure who to trust or what's really going on beneath the surface.
And that's what makes The Great Gatsby so compelling.
Totally.
It's a story that stays with you
Yeah.
long after you've finished reading it.
It makes you think.
It makes you feel.
It makes you question.
It's a story that transcends its time and place.
Yeah.
It speaks to something universal about the human condition,
Oh, yeah.
about our longing for love, our pursuit of dreams, the illusions we create for ourselves.
And maybe that's the most powerful takeaway from The Great Gatsby.
What is that?
It's a reminder that the pursuit of happiness,
Yeah.
like Gatsby's pursuit of Daisy, can be both alluring and dangerous.
Right. It's a reminder to be wary
Yeah.
of those shimmering illusions,
Yeah.
those green lights beckoning us forward. Sometimes the most important journeys are the ones that lead us back to ourselves.
Yeah.
To a deeper understanding of who we are and what truly matters.
I love that. So as you continue to explore the world of The Great Gatsby,
Yes.
remember to look beyond the surface.
Yeah.
To question the dreams you chase.
Mm-hmm.
And to hold on to that critical distance.
Right.
That ability to see the world
Yeah.
and yourselves with clear eyes.
I think that's a great place to end it.
I think so, too. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into The Great Gatsby.
Of course it was fun.